All right, we're going to go ahead and start today's meeting of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. We will start this meeting like we always start our meetings with a prayer and pledge, and we have our guest today who's been invited by District 5. So Supervisor Gallardo, if you could turn over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quickly, let me just go ahead and invite Vic Peterson. Vic, we just seen him. There he is. Why don't you come in and he'll go ahead and lead us off in the invocation and pledge. And then if it's okay, I'd like to just say a few remarks in regards to Vic and his tenure in the military and everything he does in the community. So,
please join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we ask that you place your guiding hand over the family of Detention Officer Gene Lee. We ask that you watch over our military and first responders, especially the deployed around the world. We further ask that you guide and direct our leaders in the important decisions made here today. We ask all these in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vic. Mr. Chairman, if I can, just want to say a couple words. I've known Vic for many moons now. He is a veteran of our U.S. Air Force. I believe it was like 22 years or so he has served. He is just I don't know how to describe Vic. He is the first one to always want to step up and volunteer. He's the first one to always get involved and help the community in one way, shape, or form. We have our West Valley leadership coffees, and he's the first one to sign up and is always there. Vic is just a treasure for our entire community. He is just involved in every thing. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, Vic is there. And not only does he make time to be part of the community, he's an avid runner. We have an ongoing joke, but he is involved in 5Ks and 10Ks. He does the big ones, and he is every weekend he is running somewhere and participating in some type of a race. But he is one of our veterans. I have a little quote or little statement here. He spent two terms in Vietnam, 3 deployments in the Middle East, very active in Arizona veterans community, and recently inducted into the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame. In addition to his service to our country, Vic is a strong community advocate and a friend and a supporter of District 5. He is just a wonderful person and a wonderful friend. Thank you so much, Vic, for taking the time and being here with us. And thank you for your service not only to our country, but what you continue to do every day.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo, and I would echo everything that Supervisor Gallardo said. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Very appropriate to have you here this week as we prepare for Veterans Day on Monday. All right, next on our agenda, as we typically have at this point, we have Jose Santiago with us from Maricopa County Animal Care and Control, and he has a friend who's got an interesting little outfit on, so I think we're going to hear about that here. Good morning, Jose.
Good morning. Well, it was a little bit of a rainstorm this morning, and so we didn't know if it was going to continue, so I decided to get her all protected just in case. This little lady right here, unfortunately, does not have a name just yet, but she is a senior gal at the shelter, and I brought her in because we're really doing a showcase on a lot of our senior guys and gals at the shelter. They simply get overlooked because of their age. And you can see here that she is perfectly healthy and content and happy to be held and loved and is totally looking for a new home. We are also quite full at the shelter. More than 800 animals between our two facilities. As of this morning, we had no empty kennels at our west facility, and we had a handful at our east shelter. So we are putting out the plea to the public to come out and please consider adopting an animal today and helping us to clear up space, because we are seeing so many animals coming in on a daily basis. So hopefully someone like this little one right here will get a home and we can clear up some life-saving space soon.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Jose, and I think you're in luck. My dad, Bob Gates, is there, and I think he said he wanted to adopt the dog, so. Thank you so much for all that you do over at Animal Care and Control. Now, at this point, we're going to jump a little bit out of order and move on to item 47. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Supervisor Chukri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, we have had a vacancy in one of our Justice of the Peace spots in my hometown of Mesa. And that was that of the resignation of Cecil Ash, who decided to pick retirement over Maricopa County, which we will impact his retirement account for that very purpose. But obviously, Cecil has done a wonderful job in a well-deserved retirement. And so that left us with the option of having to succeed his tenure. And we're doing that today. We had 8 applicants. And today we're going to speak about a gentleman who is just, he's not only got a good heart, and he's not only an honorable man, but he has a passion to do right by others and the right temperament, which we all know when it comes to Justice of the Peace spots, you have to have and must have. And Kyle Jones carries that and has that. He learns it from his wife, as I was told, who's sitting with him today. And so I've known Kyle a long time during his council days in Mesa, and as he's been a pro tem in our courts and has very ably run that East Valley Court so well. So it's a great honor for me, Mr. Chairman, to make a motion to appoint Kyle Jones.
Wonderful. Thank you for that motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'd like to make a second with a comment.
Please.
I've known Kyle Jones for a long time. I know him as Vice Mayor Jones. And I'm very pleased to see him becoming one of our JPs. So.
Wonderful. Thank you for the motion and the second. Do we have any discussion at all? Any further discussion? All right. Well, then we will have a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Sellers?
Yes.
Supervisor Chukri?
Aye.
Supervisor Hickman?
Aye.
Supervisor Gallardo?
Aye.
And Chairman Gates?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. The motion passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, I'd invite Mr. Jones if he'd like to say a few words, and I believe, Madam Clerk, are you going to swear him in?
Chairman Gates, Mr. Chukri, and members of the board, I thank you for this opportunity to once again serve in the North Mesa Justice Court. It's been a wonderful experience working in our justice court system, and I've had the privilege of working in multiple courts. There's been wonderful staff and great experience with them, and to those other courts that I will not be working in going forward, thank you for your time with me and your great friendship. And now as I focus on North Mesa Justice Court once again, I have great hopes for the future working with the wonderful staff there, and I'm grateful for this opportunity once again. Thank you very much.
Stand over here and that way. Raise your right hand. I, Kyle Jones.
I, Kyle Jones,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arizona.
and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arizona,
That I will bear true faith.
that I will bear true faith
And allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same,
And defend them against all enemies.
and defend them against all enemies,
Foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
And I will faithfully and impartially.
and I will faithfully and impartially
Discharge the duties.
discharge the duties
Of the office of Justice of the Peace, North Mesa Justice Precinct
of the Office of Justice of the Peace, North Mesa Justice Precinct,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you.
All right, congratulations again, and welcome to the team. And also wanted to recognize our presiding Justice of the Peace, Keith Russell. Thank you for being here, Judge. Thanks for your service. All right, now I'm going to turn to the clerk and see if we have any changes or announcements on the agenda at all today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have just two minor changes. On page 7, item 5D, as in dog, per the applicant, they have requested to continue that until the November 20th meeting. And then on page 20, which is item number 33, you'll find in your agenda that that has been lined out. Per the department, they have requested that that item be pulled.
Perfect. Thank you for that information. Keep us on track here as we move forward. Next, we're going to go into the planning and zoning consent agenda. We have PZ1, which is Pueblo Mesa, PZ2, Verde River, Unit 7B. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker slips on these items?
Mr. Chairman, we have no speakers.
All right, then I would entertain a motion on these items.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve these two items.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Chukri, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Next, under statutory hearings, we have Clerk of the Board 5 liquor license applications. A, acquisition of control for Sunny's. And then we have B through E holding out D. Circle the City Healthcare for the Homeless, Sun City West Tennis Club, and Sun City West Zymergy Club? Is somebody else? Can you
Why don't you ask your dad? He lives out there.
I'm looking for the representative from that district to explain it to me.
It's merging.
Okay. All right, we learn something every day in these meetings. All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker slips on these items?
Mr. Chairman, we have no speaker slips.
All right, well then I would entertain a motion on 5A through E holding out D.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Next, under statutory hearings, transportation, we have 6A through D, road file declarations for road files numbers A667, A654, A656, and A655. Same question. Madam Clerk, any speaker slips on these?
And same answer, no speaker slips.
All right. Then the board will now consider items 6A through D.
Move for approval on items 6A through D, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Hickman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Next, under county officers, we have election 7, Salt River Project Land Use License. Under the sheriff, we have 8, Delegation of Authority, SCAAP application process. 9 is funding for Desert Hawk Violent Crime Task Force. 10 is funding for the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program. And 11 is an agreement with the Drug Enforcement Administration. The board will now consider items 7 through 11.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of items 7 through 11.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Hickman. Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have Treasurer 12 tax abatements under the Justice Courts. We have 13, which is appointment of Justices of the Peace Pro Tem. Under Superior Court, we have 14, fill the gap plan, and 15 is to appoint Superior Court commissioners as Superior Court Judge Pro Tems. The board will now consider items 12 through 15.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve with a comment.
Please.
I believe, Judge Russell, we might need to remove Kyle Jones from this list since he is now officially a JP. Congratulations. He got promoted all within 5 minutes. So I will make that motion with adding the removal of Kyle Jones from the list of names on item 13.
Thank you for being on top of that, Supervisor Chukri. It's what we've come to expect from you. Second, do we have a second on this?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, under county officers, offices and departments, we have animal care and control. 16 is amend an agreement with Maricopa County Community College District. 17 through 18 are donations. 19 is a grant for the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. And under budget, we have 20, which is a contract with the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, and 21, which is a contract with the Greater Phoenix Convention and Visitors Bureau. The board will now consider items 16 through 21.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you for the second, Supervisor Sellers. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Under correctional health, we have 22, which is to amend an IGA with access. 23 is budget adjustment. 24 is donation from Alkermes, Inc. 25 is a donation from Janssen Pharmaceutical, Inc. 26 is a donation from Otsuka America Farm, Inc. 27 is grant funds from Gilead Science, Inc. Under emergency management, we had 28 grant funds from the Arizona Department of Emergency and Military Affairs. And under enterprise technology, we have 29, which is an administrative correction to the agreement with the Sun City Posse, LLC. The board will now consider items 22 through 29.
Mr. Chairman, before consideration of that, I wanted to just check. Item number 29 under Enterprise and Technology says administrative correction to agreement with Sun City Posse LLC. Should that not say Sun City West Posse LLC?
It should.
Because we've been talking about this. Is there a question, or should I just make that amendment that I believe it's supposed to be Sun City West? So I'll make the amendment that it'll be
All right.
to let the record show that 29 is for the Sun City West Posse LLC.
Thank you for that motion, and thank you for your work on that, Supervisor Hickman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Motion and a second with that one amendment to item 29. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under Human Resources, we have 30, which is market ranges. Under Human Services, we have 31, which is to amend a lease agreement with First Presbyterian Church of Mesa. 32 is to amend a contract with the Human Services Campus, Inc. 33 has been withdrawn. 34 is under Procurement Services. 34 is Durango Fueling Facility, and 35 is Vehicle Outfitters. So the board will now consider items 30 through 35, leaving out 33. Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Under Public Health, we have 36, which is an agreement for data sharing. 37 through 40 is amend IGA's agreements and contracts with the Arizona Department of Health Services for women, infant, and children programs, Banner Health, Southwest Human Development, and Desert Mission, Inc. And 41 is a purchase order for the Arizona Department of Health Services, IGA. The board will now consider items 36 through 41.
Move to approve items 36 through 41, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Hickman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Next, we move into Transportation, we have 42 through 44, which are bids and awards for roadway construction and rehabilitation projects. 45 is assignment of the Arizona State Land right-of-way to the city of Avondale. 46 is easement right-of-way and relocation assistance documents. We took 47 out of order, and then 48 is the 2020 meeting schedule. The board will now consider items 42 through 46 and 48.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, and a special thanks to Jen and Mitch and everyone at McDOT for the hard work they do.
Thank you very much for that. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Hickman. Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Under setting of hearings, we have the clerk of the board. 49 is a public service franchise, Zayo Group LLC. 50 is proposed Rancho Ventura number 12 irrigation water delivery district impact statement. Under planning and development, we have 51 planning and zoning cases. And under transportation, we have road file 5956, correct hearing date to November 20th, 2019. The board will now consider items 49 through 52. Thank you, Supervisor Sellers, for that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Now, under setting of hearings, we go to air quality. 53, air quality standards. 54, new source review. And 55, emission reduction credits. The board will now consider items 53 through 55.
Move to approve items 53 through 55, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Hickman. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you very much, Supervisor Sellers, for the second. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Now we go to the consent agenda. 56, appointments. 57, cancellation of election and appointment to the Board of Trustees for the Camel View IWDD number 44. 58 is duplicate warrants. 59 is stale dated warrants. 60, civil penalty appeals approval. 61, civil penalty appeals. 62 is minutes. 63, precinct committeemen. 64, secured and unsecured tax roll corrections. 65, tax abatements. 66, treasurer's collections and investment summary for September of 2019. The board will now consider items 56 through 66.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Chukri. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I will second that motion, but just a quick comment and a question, I guess. I know, when was it, back on Friday or so, there was an article by A.Z. Muir, and I'm not too thrilled with the article. It was more, unfortunately, of a gotcha type story and not really digging into why we do precinct committeemen, but it does raise that question. And I know we've had a discussion over the weekend about that, and I would hope that the board looks at it, works with legal staff to find out exactly why are we having to get involved in party politics, and that's exactly what these are. You look at the role of the precinct committeemen, you know, it's the backbone of our parties, both Republican and Democrat. They select who the party chair is. They design the platform of the party. They do resolution. They could even endorse candidates. But this is really lower level politics, and it's hard to justify. It's like, why are we getting involved? You know, especially, you know, the question I threw out there to someone over the weekend is, you know, why is a Democrat getting involved in the structure of the Republican Party? It's exactly what we're doing here, and vice versa. Republicans having say in how the Democratic Party structure is, for the most part. But I think there's a lot of questions that come about on why. I'm not going to comment on this in the article. I thought it was a little silly, but the question on why we're voting on precinct commitment is something I think we need to look at. And if they are, and the way the statute, I was looking at the statute as well, but as long as the county chairs of both particular parties are approving the precinct committeemen, I don't know why we need to go and approve it a second time. You know, this is a party function, so I would hope that we look at that as we move forward.
You know, I appreciate you raising that point, Supervisor Gallardo. I think it's important for people to understand this is not like when we have an appointment like the Justice of the Peace we just had, where we have multiple candidates and this body is picking one. These are names that are sent up to us by the chairs at the legislative district level, then going up through the county chair of the party. So I appreciate you raising that, and I think it is something we should look at moving forward. With that, any other comments on that item? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Now we go on to the addendum. We have Parks and Recreation, A1, donations. County Attorney, we have A2, which is Greg and Vanessa Sapenic et al. Versus Maricopa County Sheriff Paul Penzone. Sheriff, under A3, we have appropriation for new fund. And under procurement A4, we have the MOU with Orcutt Winslow. The board will now consider items A1 through A4.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Now we're going to recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Board of Deposit, not something we do very often. We just have one item here under Board of Deposit, which is BD1 2020 meeting schedule. The board will now consider item BD1.
Move for approval, item BD1.
Thank you, Supervisor Hickman. Do we have a second?
Although very controversial, I will second.
Thanks for going out on a limb and seconding that. Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, that motion passes unanimously. Now we will adjourn as the Board of Deposit and convene as the Improvement District Board of Directors. And again, just one item here, I-1, 2020 meeting schedule. Board will now consider item I-1.
Move for approval, item I1, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Again,
you.
reluctantly, I will second.
Thank you, Supervisor Hickman and Chukri. We have motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Now we will adjourn as the Improvement District Board of Directors, and we're going to convene as the Flood Control District Board of Directors. We have three items. F1, Construction Manager at Risk for the Rawhide Wash Flood Hazard Mitigation Project pre-construction. F2, which is 2020 meeting schedule, and F3, minutes. The board will now consider items F1 through F3.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of items F1 through F3.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Now we're adjourning as the Flood Control District Board of Directors, and we will convene as the Library District Board of Directors. And we have 5 items, L1 through L3, which are donations. L4 is the 2020 meeting schedule, and L5 is the minutes. Board will now consider items L1 through L5.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Now we will adjourn as the Library District Board of Directors and convene as the Stadium District Board of Directors. We have 2 items, S1, 2020 meeting schedule, S2, the minutes. We'll now consider items S1 through S2.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Now we will adjourn as the Stadium District Board of Directors and convene as the Housing Authority of Maricopa County. And the board will consider item H1, 2020 meeting schedule.
Move to approve item H1, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hickman.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Chukri. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Now we'll adjourn as the Housing Authority of Maricopa County and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker slips today?
Mr. Chairman, we have no speaker slips, but I would like to revisit item 5D, which was the one that was continued, and I do believe that we need to vote as a board to continue that to the November 20th meeting.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to continue?
Motion to continue item 5D, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Thank you very much. We have motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much for keeping us straight on that. We do not have any speaker slips. It's been a while on that. So this is the time now when we turn to the dais, and we have updates from everyone up here. Ms. Rich.
Mr. Chairman, just wanted to thank all of our employees that joined us on the 24th out at Durango for our 5K walk and run. We had a great turnout. It was a good time. Tomorrow morning at our Southeast facility, I believe we're going to kick it off at 7. We're going to walk for 30 minutes out there to give employees on that side of the county a chance to enjoy a little time together and some fitness and get their incentive points for their wellness deduction. So thank you.
Excellent, and thank you for that commitment and focus on wellness, Joy. It's really important, and I know you're always pushing it and trying to see what else we can do to take it to the next level. Supervisor Gallardo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real briefly, apologize for not being able to make the celebration this morning, but I do want to thank our veterans out there that have given their service to our country, and many of them continue to serve and help other veterans. So thank you to all the veterans out there for their service. District 5, we are really gearing up on our office hours. As you know, our districts are so large, and they go from one side of the county to the other. So we really believe it's important for us to get out there, particularly those areas that many of the folks, if they just want to be able to sit down and talk to us or try to ask a particular question, they got to come all the way down downtown Phoenix, try to find parking and so on. So we try to take it out to them. We are having our office hours every Tuesday at our Avondale office, the Southwest Justice Courts that Clint and I share. We are also going to have our office hours in Gila Bend and Buckeye as well. So we're scheduling those dates as well. It's next week, already next week. So we're doing fun stuff in the community. We had our coffee on Saturday. It was great. We had, of course, the census. We had one of our judges from the justice courts come out, talk about what's going on in the justice world. And then, of course, we had an election update with our county recorder. So it's always good stuff, be able to bring people together. Had a nice turnout, probably 40 to 50 people from the West Valley to come out and just hear what's going on in Maricopa County. So we look forward to continuing that. We probably won't do one in December because of the holidays, but come the first of the year, we want to continue to have those types of coffees.
All right, thanks for the update. Supervisor Hickman.
Well, I hope you're going to say a couple more words about Officer Lee, so I'm gonna hold off on that one. I'm sure you're going to talk for the board on that. So one nice thing that occurred last week is I went out to talk to all of basically the heads of all the groups of Sun City. So Sun City Homeowners Association, the Prides, the Posse, the Recreation Department, and they all came back with just glowing things about just what the county and Maricopa County does for them. Specifically, the Sheriff's Department, when it comes to traffic enforcement, they feel that that's having a great effect with speeders through their community, and McDOT, and how well the highway crews work out there to keep everything working like a city should, plus just the hard work and the way they have a relationship with the Prides on beautification and keeping it pretty out there. So thank you, Jennifer and Mitch, for your hard work and your guys' hard work out there. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Sellers.
Thank you, Chairman. Supervisor Chukri and I shared the stage at the Gilbert Chamber Good Government Series a couple of weeks ago, and that was a very interesting event, and I appreciated having Supervisor Chukri there because a lot of questions were asked that were history that I didn't have much knowledge about. Also had a fun event, the Lucas Off-Road National Racing event. got to stand on the stage and be part of the official welcoming group for that. We all attended the County Supervisors Annual Meeting in Maricopa. Yesterday, a couple of us attended the East Line ribbon cutting, along with Tempe Mayor Mitchell and Congressman Stanton. And it's so impressive to see what we're doing in that kind of a public-private partnership in providing affordable housing. And particularly the area where they did that is close to parks, close to schools, close to transit options, including light rail. Just a really, really impressive project. And our county takes the lead in a lot of those kind of efforts. So really honored to be able to participate in that yesterday. Last night I attended the Intel Community Advisory Panel meeting, and we had a very interesting presentation from an Intel Vice President on how retail is how technology is impacting retail. And it really, his perspective is a lot different than what we all see by watching the online stuff, because he said that people still really are spending a lot of time in stores, but they need to know exactly where they're going. And so technology is helping to direct them to exactly what they want to touch and feel and experience. And it was really an interesting presentation. And we did that at Chandler Fashion Mall. So we got to go out and see how they're using some of the technology there as well. So interesting stuff.
Thank you for that report. Supervisor Chukri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was great to be with Jack. I think he's being more humble than he should. It was our first time being able to share the stage in his words. Actually, he kind of put me in the corner. He was center stage because it was his district. But it was nice to be able to have the back and forth with Jack. And Jack, you've been a wonderful compliment to this board, as you know. And listening to what Mr. Hickman had to say, you know, it brings some pride to me when I hear that, because you've seen the stumbles and the back and forth of recent weeks, but you also can't take your eye off the ball from what Mr. Gallardo's doing, what Mr. Hickman just provided us an update on, that we are getting it right. And we get it right more often than not. And it's not because we're elected county supervisors. It's because we have passion in what we do, and we care about what I believe is the greatest county in America. Aside from that, it's also displayed in the sad tragedy we experienced last week with Officer Lee, and how everything and everyone has come together. I went to the fundraiser yesterday up the street at Plea, and it was crowded, it was packed. From all aspects of Maricopa County law enforcement, people who just simply cared, and they care about our county. So it's really gratifying. And then today, Mr. Chairman, to your comments, which I think were so apropos, probably some of the best comments I've heard in my tenure as a supervisor on this very, very sacred and very personal day to many of us in celebrating our veterans. And so kudos to you for hitting that out of the park. And then lastly, on Supervisor Gallardo's birthday, I like to go and do community service in honor of him after trying to wake him up at 6 a.m. in the morning, which he didn't pick up, by the way. And so on that very, very great day of celebration, I went and toured Paz de Cristo in my district, in my hometown of Mesa. And, you know, it's amazing when you see volunteers, true volunteers. This gentleman who runs at Arlen was in his own practice. He retired, and now he does this full time. And I said, well, aren't you concerned? He was going bucket by bucket, shelf by shelf, as to who donates what products and how much of a time runway they have before they'll expire or be used. I said, don't you worry about it. He said, no, we're always fine. We're always fine. And it just hit me that it's amazing the generosity of our community. And how we're looking out for one another. And that is not only a point of pride, I think that's something we should all celebrate. So thank you to all my colleagues, thank you to Maricopa County, thank you to our veterans. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much for your comments, Supervisor Chukri. Really appreciate those. Again, our hearts are heavy here at Maricopa County, losing Officer Lee last week. You know, during my time when I was on the Phoenix City Council before I came over here, we had lost several officers and firefighters, and there's nothing worse than this, to lose one of our people in the line of duty. And, I think if anything good, positive can come out of this, can be a renewed focus on our detention officers. I think in our community, we do a really good job of recognizing our police officers, our firefighters, many other first responders, but sometimes maybe the detention officers get a little lost in the shuffle. And this is a great reminder for us that they are putting their lives on the line every day for us. And they do incredible work, and they're such an important part of the Maricopa County family. I had the chance to go over to the barbecue as well yesterday, put on by Plea, and it was wonderful to see all the people there, the community, the outpouring of support from brothers and sisters from different agencies, and I just think it says a lot about Maricopa County and this community. So again, our hearts go out to the sheriff's office and everyone over there, and because we are one county, and this board hurts just alongside you all. So also for the Veterans Day, thanks to everyone who participated in the ceremony today. Lieutenant Colonel Morley did a great job. It was great to have him. He heads up recruitment for the Army. I think they've got the right person doing it. Really energetic individual with an incredible resume. So we were honored to have him with us. And to all the veterans here, happy Veterans Day coming up on Monday. Enjoy the day off. And again, we salute you for your service, both to our country and to Maricopa County. I'm going to have my next county coffee tomorrow morning, so we will be having our new county attorney, Alistair Adele, joining us. So I know people up in District 3 are excited to have the opportunity to meet her and hear how she has really hit the ground running on so many different things, and so we're very excited to have her, and that's 8 a.m. up at Deer Valley Airport. And finally, wanted to make an announcement, a sad announcement for me. After great service here since I came over to the Board of Supervisors, Zach Shira, my Deputy Chief of Staff, is going to be leaving and going to work for the county attorney. So I'm going to have a few words with her at the beginning of the coffee tomorrow. No. We were very happy for Zach. Zach has done an incredible job for us, especially I think as many people in this room know, while Laura was out, Zach stepped up and served in that chief of staff role. So Zach, thanks for everything. We wish you the best, and at least for a while, we're still going to be in the same building, and hope you enjoy that new building over there that the board built for you. So again, thanks, Zach. Thanks for your service. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.